Hey everybody, so I was talking to LilyMax555 over on Xander's Meteor and was told that I need to do a ramble on this channel so that there's something to watch and so that I can get back into the flow. So, the question that was asked is, let me quote, hang on. Why are mothers one's whole world? Then years down the road they become very irritating. So, as you guys know, my grandma is in the nursing home right now. She's recently been diagnosed with cancer, and can't remember if I gave you guys an update on this or not. I'm pretty sure I did. But anyway, my dad has for the past 4 or 5 years at least grown increasingly irritated with my grandmother. And it's not that my grandmother does anything wrong. My grandmother is actually very, very sweet, very kind, very, very big-hearted. And my dad's problem is with the fact that when she starts to tell a story, she starts going off on tangents that are so horribly unrelated to the story that she's telling or just the information that she's giving that it takes her a good 20 minutes just to get around to literally telling 30 seconds worth of information. It would be similar to if you ask someone, what did you do last night? And half an hour later, they finally say, so anyway, what I did last night was I sat around at home and I watched The Simpsons. And that's it, and then I went to bed. If it took somebody 20 minutes to tell you that much, you would probably go a little batty. I have a really bad problem with doing that as well. You guys have heard me ramble and you've heard me go off on tangents and get completely and totally off topic with what I started talking about. And because of that, because I know that I do that, I'm very conscious of it. And I attempt to bring it back at least as quickly as possible. Now, one of the things that's different about the videos that I make versus a conversation with my grandma is that this is not a conversation so much. I am speaking my mind. And the only feedback that I'm receiving is in the comments after I've already uploaded it. So if I stand here for 15 minutes and just talk about this and that and the other and everything in between, then that's because I have no one and nothing to keep me on track and keep me on target. That's why I did the whiteboard for the whole Satan versus God and Satan on our side. And even that video with the whiteboard, with all of those points that I had on the whiteboard, I still didn't stay on topic, and I still sort of feel like I need to go back, watch those two, take some more notes, and put up a part 3 that actually brings it all back together. Because really, in the end, I said nothing about how Satan could be viewed as working together in collusion with mankind. So I missed the whole point because I rambled on for half an hour. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. But, again, the point is, my grandma will do that, and it drives my dad absolutely bonkers because she will start talking about how someone's kids, they're related to Ronnie Dalton, how Ronnie Dalton, now I taught Ronnie Dalton's third cousin when I was teaching reading class, and I remember Ronnie Dalton used to come in and he always wore this yellow shirt, and he was very poor. His parents were from West Virginia. They moved up here to Ohio. I think they moved up here in Ohio, was between 52 and 53. Let's see. My sister Agnes was going through her consecration down in Tennessee at that time, and I'm pretty sure that Tennessee, 42, and my sister Agnes, when she was down there in Tennessee, I remember her telling me that the bugs down there are a whole lot bigger than they are up here in Ohio. And I saw some bugs the other day that I just couldn't I haven't ever seen those. I'm 80. How old am I? That is literally how a conversation with my grandma goes. Now, I don't really mind it because, I mean, to me, it's just kind of like, whatever. I expect it. My dad expects it, but because my dad expects it and he knows that's what's going to happen, he will do one of two things. One, he'll either ignore my grandma and try to limit his interaction with her as much as possible, or he will actually kind of push her through a conversation and go, he'll stop her when she starts the rambling and say, he's not completely rude, but I mean, I sit there and I sometimes think, geez, Dad, you're an asshole. Which my dad is kind of an asshole. My dad is extremely, extremely straightforward, to the point, no messing around. Let's just get this crap done and move on with life. It's also funny, while talking about my parents, I have a hard time cursing. Anyway. Unless I'm actually mad at them, which I'm not mad at them right now. So, yeah. So, why are mothers your whole life, and then later on they become irritating? I think part of the problem is that a mother, generally speaking, at least in my experience, a mother remains a mother with the same compassion, the same, oh no, you fell down, how's my baby, attitude all of their lives. My mom is very much that way. When she came out here, after I told her I was moving to Seattle, and she came out a couple hours later and she said she had been crying, and we were talking about this and that and the other, and some relationship issues, and some, we talked about relationships, and my mom mentioned that, well, I mentioned something about how when I moved back here, I thought maybe I would be able to, there were a few different girls that I was talking to. I had no idea where those relationships might go. They went nowhere, and because they went nowhere, I was kind of stuck with nothing. And, I was kind of like, well, that would have been nice. It wasn't necessary, but it kind of would have been nice. I mean, even if it would have lasted 6 months, it would have been nice. So, my mom mentioned, she said, she has so much empathy, my mom does, that she says, it hurt her to watch me go through that and to feel so much pain. Now, I honestly think that she actually felt a little bit more pain than I did. I know that with my two sisters who have kids that are reaching 10 years old, I'm sure that I think one of them will turn 10. No, crap, one of them did turn 10. Jeez, I need to pay attention to my family a little bit better. Anyway, with my sisters having kids that are 10 years old, and they've been married for 11 years old? 11 years? 11 years old. No, 98. So both my sisters got married in 98, 1 month apart from each other. One of them in May in Oklahoma, and the other one in July, so 2 months apart in Indiana. So I think that my parents, or at least my mom is a hopeless romantic. She hopes that a girl comes along and sweeps me off my feet for the most part, that I fall deeply and madly in love with someone, and that we will be soulmates. She mentioned soulmates when she and I were talking about this the other day, and that we'll be soulmates, and that we'll know right off the bat, boom, this is it, and we'll get married and we'll have babies and everybody will be happy forever and never, amen. That's what my mom thinks, and I won't lie, I hope the same thing does happen to me, but I've resigned myself to the fact, not due to disappointment, but due to the fact that I try to base my life as much as possible on reality. I've resigned myself to the fact that I can't cause that to happen, I can't force that to happen, it just will happen. As I continue to work through my roaring 20s, which I will hopefully work on tomorrow, you guys will see what I'm talking about. How I grow from, well, I make quite a few missteps. And anyway, this isn't about that. This is about why do mothers end up being irritating. The irritating part comes in when a mother can't put aside her motherhood, in my opinion. My mom is annoying to me when she isn't paying attention to her own life, and she isn't actually thinking, I am a mother, I am a wife, but I'm also a person. And I don't know how many other people feel this way, but my mother especially she's never had a real job. She went to college, she has a college education, she could go and get a job. She's always been able to go and get a job. But because my dad made enough money and because they placed so much importance on my mom staying home and raising the children, that's what my mom did. She didn't want to work because she didn't want to be away from the kids. Now that she is in her 60s, then she's doing a lot of looking back and going, well, I could have done all of these other things, and I have nothing to my name other than mother and wife. And I think that my parents' marriage is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Stale is the wrong word. I think steady would probably be the right word for that. I think that the older I got, okay, let's back up just a little bit. The older I got, the more I realized, I'm also going to start talking fast because I'm reaching my 15 minutes and I don't want to do 2 videos. The older I got, the more I realized that my mom was actually a person, and that my mom had all of the same characteristics, and I had to discover all of those characteristics as everybody else that I ever met. And that once I realized that my mom was a person, and I met that person, and I got to know that person, I realized that there were many things about my mom that I don't actually like. And I'm not just talking about the way that she raised me. I'm not talking about the mistakes she made in my childhood. I'm talking about things like self-confidence, placing all of her time and attention and energy into her religion. That has always bothered me. Even when I was still a Christian, that completely and totally bothered the hell out of me, that my mom could not identify with anything other than her faith. That was all that there was to her. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why she couldn't find any strength within her own abilities and find strength within herself and not give every single bit of power over to her belief in God. I mean, she is 100% non-existent at this point because she has given herself over to, to the will of God in her mind. She doesn't feel as though even the good decisions that she makes are actually her decisions. She feels that was God talking to her and making up her mind for her, whispering and giving her the option to, follow God's way or go your own way, which is going to be bad because it always is. And so, anyway, in growing up, I learned who my mother was. And some of the things about my mom I don't actually like. When I was younger, I didn't know that. My mom was everything to me because she was everything. She was the one that, put the Band-Aids on. She was the one that, came in and sat on my bed and talked to me and prayed with me when Sarah committed suicide. If I ever pause, that's because Sarah's not her real name. I just don't want to use her real name, and I have to remember which one I use. But, my mom was always the compassionate one, the one that showed emotion. My dad was never emotional except when he got mad. And so my mom was everything, but then I was able to look at my mom critically. And when I was able to look at my mom critically, and not in an attempt to demean her or to reduce her value to me in my life, but I looked at her and I saw a person that wasn't what I remembered. And it's because she was everything to me when I was a child. I do remember that there was a time that I said that I was going to grow up and marry my mom. I was probably 4 or 5, I think. And, it had to be explained to me that, well, you'll find your own wife and mom's already married to dad. And you could say that there was some confusion in my mind at that because I didn't understand any of that crap at that point. But really what it was and what it is the reason that they're everything to you when you're young and then they become irritating as hell is because eventually you view them as another person. And once you view them as another person, then you realize I don't have much of a choice because this is my mom. But if I did have a choice, I would limit my interaction. And I generally tend to limit my interaction with my family, and that's because they're a little strange. But then again, I limit my interaction with everybody, so it doesn't really count. Okay, I hope that was good enough. That's 15 minutes of rambling, and I'm out of time. You guys have a good one.